Okay, so how do we use arrays when we want to create a, better organized project that has methods incorporated into it? So there's actually some really nice things about this that you're going to see that won't make it quite as hard as you might expect this process to be. So what I'm going to do is start with three arrays. So num1 is going to be a new integer array with 5 elements. And then we're going to make 3 of these. So this here is num2 and then num3. So each of them are going to be an empty array with 5 elements and they're integers. So what we'll do is we're going to load arrays 1 and 2 with random values here. So for int I equals 0, while I is less than 5, I plus plus. Sometimes I won't put, say, like the length of a particular one when I'm using multiple arrays within this for loop. So I just put the known maximum value here. So num1 is sub I, or element I, is going to be integer math.random. We're just going to go 1 to 100 because that's easy. Doesn't really matter what the values are for this. Just because this is a demonstration of how to use arrays when you've got methods. So I've created 2 here. The first one that I'm going to make is one called print nums. So num1. Here we go. And then I'm going to also print nums num2. There we go. So I'll print the values in both of those. So let's set up our methods here. They're going to look like this. So public static void, and we'll be receiving an array of integers as the parameter. So here's how we indicate that. Just like normal, we indicate the type, but as part of the type, you need these square brackets in here so that you know that it is in fact an array, and it'll be n here. There we go. Okay, so we've got this created. Now what we're going to do is create a for loop and then print the values. So for int n colon for, you know what? I'm going to call this one num just so that I can keep a distinction between these two. So for int n num, then what we'll do is we'll system.out.print n plus and a space. I'll use the cheat that the user will not be able to see the last space, and that'll make this look like a pretty clean line. And then system.out.println just to make a line here. Okay, so let's see what we've got so far. What do I have here? Oh, I didn't put the name of it. Print nums. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so what I'm going to get here are our 2, load faster, our 2 arrays with size 5, and they are just full of random values. So this one's pretty straightforward. A void method, it receives an array as a parameter and then does some operation with them. Okay, let's do something different. Now, how do we return something? So imagine that I want my third array to become equal to the sum of the two other arrays. And I'm going to do it like this. So my third array is going to be the sum of these two. So here's how we do this. Now, this one will be returning an array. So do this one at the top, public static. Now, when we're putting the type that we're returning, because it's an array, of course, you have to have the square brackets here. And we'll call it add arrays. So we'll have our integer. We'll leave them as the names that I already had, because of course there's no problem with that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new array here. Now, we should probably put some sort of check in here to make sure that they're the same length, but I'm just going to assume they're the same length. So we'll make a new one that will be kind of like the result of these two. And its size is going to be num1 dot length. Okay. And now, because we are working with multiple arrays, I can't use this method for adding them together. I've got to use a standard for loop for int I equals 0, while I is less than the sum array dot length I plus plus. Then here, the element I of some array is going to be equal to the total of the element I from num1 plus element I from num2. So this will total those up, and then all we have to do is we have to return the array that we created, and it will get stored here. Just to verify, I'll go a print nums num3, and then we should be able to tell that it is the addition of the other two. Just with the last one, 34 plus 4 is 38. So they're not well aligned, but that's fine. Okay, so we can send a parameter. We can send multiple parameters. We can return something. Now here's something interesting. Let's create one called double array. And this is going to have the job of doubling every value that is in the array. And we're going to do it without returning anything. So what we'll do here is at the top, I'm going to public static. We're not returning anything, so this is void. Double array. We are receiving some array of numbers, and then we're going to double each value in them. So I am going to kind of just do a copy paste here, grab this. Of course, this is going to be for num.length. And then inside this, I'm going to have num element I is going to be equal to num element I times 2. And I'm going to leave it like that. So print nums num3. We'll see if that actually does anything. So your brain, because you're used to doing it, a particular way, might have you think, okay, this is a bunch of values. It'll get doubled in double array, but this should be the original num3. So we'll see if we get it printed twice in a row or it gets doubled. And what you see here is num3 here, and this is num3 doubled. So it is very handy to deal with lots of information when we have an array that is passed as a parameter to a method. This is an important note. Arrays are passed by reference, meaning the array, the original array is, say, affected by the method to which it is passed. So obviously this is really handy, and this gets around the fact that, you know, sometimes you feel restricted that if you got a method, you send it, you can only get like one piece of information now. So now we can change an entire list or multiple lists, because every single array that we pass is going to have this sort of thing happen to it.